So I made the mistake of telling my wife I was bored today. It's Sunday. I had nothing to do. So what'd she do? She told me to go out in the garage and make her that stove cover I've been promising her for 4 years. I was kind of hoping those things would go away by now, but apparently they haven't. They're still pretty popular. So I guess we're going to build her up a stove cover. I got a couple of pieces of pine here that I should be able to make two out of these two pieces of pine. But I'm gonna make one, see what happens. She's gonna engrave it afterwards on her X-Tool something laser engraver thing. I don't know. So what that tells me is I've got to make another one. That's why I got two boards here, because she's probably gonna get that crooked. So anyway, let's see if we can whip up a stove cover. So I've got two pine boards here. They're 1x6 by 10s. I should be able to get one board out of each one. I've got a couple of handles, and I'm gonna have to find another piece of pine to make the connecting strips out of. But I'm sure I can find something around here. So let's head over to the chop saw and see if we can get these cut down. So because I don't have T-track on my miter station, what I like to use is, well, kind of a stop block, scrap piece of wood, and some double-sided tape. So let me get this measured off so I can get the same exact measurement on each cut. What I'm going to do is measure off 29.5 inches and make a mark. Then with some alien double-sided tape, just going to stick that right on the mark. So I'll get that right on the mark, and that gives me a positive stop block. So I need to get 4 pieces out of this 10-footer. If my math is correct, I'll have just a little bit left over. So I hope I don't mess nothing up. So here's my 4 pieces for the first board. So I'm going to need some pieces to attach these together, and well, I'll get them milled up and let her engrave it. So I guess I'll head over to the joiner and see if I can clean up these edges a little bit. Well, that was a messy ordeal. I'd show you that, but I'm embarrassed with my dust collection and chip collection on the joiner. So anyway, got these jointed down. Did both faces and both edges. Still probably have to do a little bit of sanding, but that's okay. So everything's looking pretty good right now. It's 4 boards butted up against each other. Should make a nice tight stove cover. I need to find a couple of strips to go here to hold this all together and to put the hardware on. And what I've found is I've got this old pine shelf that I think I can get a couple of decent pieces out of once I get the cobwebs off it. So I'm going to head over to the table saw and see if I can cut this down. So I set this for 2 3/4 inches just because if you had a 12-foot board, I think that you could easily cut these out in half of that 6-inch board, 5.5-inch board really, be 2 3/4. So that's what I'm going to cut these out at and see how that looks on there, so that the next one that we build after this one, we could probably do a 12-foot board. So let's give it a shot. Then I'll just go chop this down to 22 inches on the chop saw. I'll be right back. All right, so we got our cross pieces cut out. They do look a little crappy, still got to sand them down and all that, but you know, I think that's going to work out pretty good for a Sunday afternoon stove cover. What do you think? And then we'll be able to put the handles on there, and this will be good. I got to get this put together. She's got to engrave it. She's got to figure out what she wants engraved on it. So that's going to give me a break to, mess around in the shop. So we'll be right back. So now it's time to put it all together. I've already figured out which side I want to be up, so I'm going to flip this all over on top of the cross pieces, we'll call them. So And the wife pointed out that you don't actually leave a gap at the end. These actually go all the way to the end. And she said that like, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, because I've never really built one of these before, so I don't really know what I'm doing. So, put all these like this. I'm gonna get the bottom lined up nice and good. It's a little proud, and I'm okay with that. I can sand that off later. But I want to get it all nice and square. Nice and flush on one end. Okay, that's perfect. And now I got to take it all apart and add some glue. So. Once I think I get them all in the right spot, I'm going to throw a clamp on here just to hold them all good and tight together. Without too much pressure. I don't want it bowing out. But I don't want them moving around as I'm trying to nail them down. Just a little bit of pressure. Use my favorite flooring hammer. Just tweak those just a little bit. Okay, that side's good there. I'm just going to throw some 1¼ inch brad nails in. And let's see how this turned out. Jeez, that'll cover up a stove, won't it? Yeah, it will. All right. So now I'm going to do a little bit of sanding in the middle. Not much. She's going to do some engraving. We have to sand over the top of that. Then I'll do some routing of the edges, clean up this little bit of overhang I have, and mount some handles. I'm pretty happy with it so far. What do you think?
Looks good.
All right, looks good. Let's get the engraving going. So far, this thing's turning out pretty good. I'm really liking it. Now I'm going to take a little bit of shop air, blow that off. Now I'm going to get this sanded, get these ends taken off. Figure out if I want to put a profile around any of this and get it stained. So, be right back. So that's about all the sanding I'm going to do. Went to 180, blew it all off. Now, time to get some stain on it. What we're using for stain is a poly shade. We're using a poly shade by Minwax. It's a Bombay mahogany. It's what we've used on a lot of the projects in our house, so that's what we're going to use. I'm going to do the back first because of course we want the back to be finished also. So all I'm going to do is brush this on and then wipe it off because I don't have any gloves handy. So I don't feel like dipping my hand into this thing. So let's see how this works out. And I don't have any foam brushes, so it's just the back. It'll be fine, people. Calm down. All right, let's get this measured out for some hardware. Now you do have to get these longer screws for your cabinet hardware. They don't normally come with long enough screws. So I bought these, they're number 8 by 32 by 1.75 inches. They work perfect. I use them for drawer fronts, a few other things also. I know I could drill right through that hardware jig. I like just putting a little dimple and then drilling through it. It's just the way I do it. And there we go. Just like that. We have a stove cover. I don't mind the way that that stain came out. I actually like that. So if you want to build yourself a stove cover, get yourself a 1x6x12, then you'll have all the pieces you need. Cut them down, stain it, put some hardware on it, laser engrave it if you have a laser engraver, or I don't care, paint something on there. But it'll look nice and your wife will be happy. Just like mine might now be happy. Geez, I hope. All right. Hey, thanks for watching, and check out my other content on my channel. All right. Don't forget to subscribe.